What is the Baltimore Ravens 2024 offseason plan? Or, much like 2023, do they even have one? We discuss next on the GM. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the GM. It is your guy Boulanger. Up next on the GM, do the Baltimore Ravens really operate with a plan? Do me a quick favor, hit like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you get updates when we upload new content. Let's talk about it. You see, I posed this question: do the Baltimore Ravens operate with a plan? Because it doesn't really seem like they do, right? It doesn't seem that they really have a roadmap from season to season, right? Here's why I say that. We're in a very similar place with Justin Meta BK and or Patrick Queen as we were last season with Lamar Jackson. We end up in the off season and free agency with prime time players who are not under contract. So we end up having to franchise tag these players, which hard caps us and makes us unable to do anything much at all in free agency. You see, when you take a look at the Lamar Jackson situation from last year, the Baltimore Ravens had 3 seasons to get a deal done. Okay. Yeah, things worked out well. They signed him and we went into the season, had a good season, ended up in the AFC Championship. But here we are again 1 season later with a very similar scenario. See, we don't have any reason why the Baltimore Ravens didn't pick up Patrick Queen's 5th-year option, which would take one big component and a major part of our team uh, off of the free agency market, at least for 1 season or one off season rather. Then we would just have to turn our attention to Justin Metabike. But here's the question: did they not see Justin Metabike coming? Are the Baltimore Ravens that unable to see the potential talent in order to get a guy on the books early versus late? You see, it's clear that they had to see something because I think that's part of the reason why they let Calais Campbell walk in free agency last year in order to give Justin Metabike full reign along that defensive front. But then you wait until he has an all pro season, leads you in sacks, and then becomes a highly sought after free agent. And now you're stuck with a $22 million franchise tag if that's what they choose to do, which then makes you unable to do much, if anything, in the free agency market. You see, this is 2 years straight. But see, here's why I say they operate without a plan. Because this is not the first time we've seen this. We've seen this when it was Matt Judon, and they couldn't get a deal done for whatever the reason, and they ended up had to franchise tag him, and then he walked away the next year, I believe it was, to the New England Patriots, and he went on to be a Pro Bowler. Same thing happened. They couldn't figure out what to do with Zadarius Smith. He left and walked on to the Green Bay Packers. Same thing that happened with CJ Mosley. He left and walked on to the New York Jets because we're failing to get deals done early with marquee players. I don't want to hear that that's how the NFL business is done. I don't want to hear that because not everybody is operating that way. You see, when a team chooses, when good teams choose, or good administrations, I might say, when they choose to let a guy walk, they'll let a guy walk. But the Baltimore Ravens seem to be stuck in between letting a guy walk, keeping him, or not really knowing what to do with him. You know what that's called? When you stand in the midst of two decisions and you don't make one because you don't have a plan. It's called indecision. And the Baltimore Ravens look like a team who are indecisive. When we have premier commodities like a Pat Queen, like a Justin Meta BK, like a Lamar Jackson last year, so on and so forth, we don't get deals done. That's why we end up in situations where we have to use what I call the reactionary franchise tag. Because no matter who uses it, no matter which team, it's a reaction. You're reacting because you couldn't get a deal done. There is no reason why a guy who is a premier player that deserves a franchise tag, it's no reason why he wouldn't get a deal done a year early. There's no reason. And so now when you use that franchise tag, now you hard cap yourself and now you can't make any moves in free agency. And the Baltimore Ravens can't afford not to make any moves in free agency. They cannot afford to just lean on the draft. Although the draft is deep, like I mentioned earlier, it's very, very deep in a lot of positions of need. But the Baltimore Ravens look like a team without a plan. I did a video last year and asked the Baltimore Ravens what the plan is. Somebody jump in the comment section and tell me what's the Baltimore Ravens plan? What does it look like their POA is? Their plan of action? Because I don't see one. You see, that's why this team has so many holes. Because they did it without a plan. You see, we should have been had a replacement for Ronnie Stanley. We've had 3 years to do it. We should have been had a plan for left guard. We've had 3 years to do it because the left guard has changed starters over the last 3 years. We should have been had a plan for a uh, Kevin Zeitler replacement. He was 30 when we signed him. We should have had a plan, or maybe we do, just haven't used him in Daniel Falele to replace Morgan Moses. We should have been had a plan to replace an often injured J.K. Dobbins. We understood what Justice Hill was. He's a third down back. We understand what Keaton Mitchell was. He's a splash player, right? He's not an every down back. We should have understood that Gus Edwards could not be the long-term answer at running back, especially a bigger guy who's had an ACL injury. We should have known that. J.K. Dobbins has been hurt three of the last years. But now here we are wondering, what are we gonna do? That's not a plan to me. We should we we should have been had a plan for some good talent at wide receiver to step in. The only reason why we looked as good as we did last year is because they hit on Zay Flowers. But who else do we have? Who else are we looking into our future to aid Lamar Jackson in this offense? Who else? Hmm? And another guy who's on the roster that they need to get a deal done for, as I'm thinking about it, is Brandon Stephens. Maybe he's not a lockdown corner or a cover corner, but he is a quality corner that he has earned his money, and they need to pay him early and not late. Even if he just falls back over the next season to a good fill-in rotation type guy, he's still worth the contract now. If you guys know what the plan is, by all means, drop that in the comment section. This is Proofing. I got some more on the way. I'm your guy Boulanger. I'm out.